downtown streets to continue their protests. Now we go to CP24's G20 special correspondent Craig Keilberger, and he's been looking for alternatives to protest marches for groups to get their message heard.
The city is entirely abuzz around G8 and G20, but are Torontonians really talking together? Protesters, world leaders, imagine if they sat at the table. Well, Azmi Haq brings individuals together. He runs a Salon Camden here in Toronto for the past 3 years, bringing divergent views around the city to have a conversation. One room, same time, no hold bars. You're holding a Salon Camden around G8, G20. Can you share with us a little bit about that?
Well, we are very interested to see what's going to come out of it. We are looking at the final collective statement and then put it to Torontonians and say, okay, guys, you went through reasonable discomfort and you had the honor of hosting people, which is a big honor. Now, this is what they've said. What do you think about it?
So if you were to redesign the process with the world leaders, NGOs, how could you imagine this dialogue happening in a more productive way?
Well, I think two things. For any dialogue to be productive, communications is very important. You have to distill the message and say, listen, this is the purpose why we are here for, and this is what we want to achieve. I don't think that the Torontonians, and the ones that I've talked to thus far, get it. They have not heard a very clear message either from their government or from respective governments that, okay, guys, this is what we're going to achieve here. So, for any process to be very fruitful and people to have faith in a process, a sense of achievement needs to be linked. It's called accountability.
And how do citizens hold our governments, especially at a level of G8, G20, which we can't necessarily elect? How do we hold them accountable for what happens out of this conversation, out of this G8, G20 summit?
Well, we are a major voice, and we have a legacy as a credible international voice. And I think we can leverage that legacy and that gravitas on the table and at least push. Nothing can be achieved overnight, but Canada, with its very special status of respect, international respect, can push the agenda. But we need to define and decide and announce and pronounce what that agenda is.
Final question. If you could imagine the world leaders, NGOs, all the divergent views together in one room at one of your Salon Camdens, how would the meeting go?
It'll go well because they'll all have to adhere to the Salon rules. Number one, Chatham House rule. Number two, you can agree and disagree as much as you want, but once you emerge from the trenches, you're all friends. No hard feelings.
We're continuing our, what we affectionately call Quiet Riot, how to get your message out peacefully, including through dialogue and discussion. Back to you.
And the international summits are the subject of today's CP24 web poll. We're asking, have you changed your schedule to avoid the G8 and G20? You can register your opinion at CP24.com. And, of course, keep it here on CP24. We have everything you need to know G20 related, traffic disruptions, protests, and